So many people online on a summer evening because it's hot and I see how many people are outside. But the group that's sitting here is the group that is invested in themselves, that knows that this summer evening in this meeting is going to pay off in many other summer evenings that we will be able to go out and enjoy because we have worked on ourselves. So congratulations on being a part of today's meeting. Can we give ourselves a round of applause for that? Perfect. So today's theme is, where am I missing this? Okay, today's theme is change your mindset. Yes, I see it here. Change your mindset. And this is something that I closely connect with because many years ago, about 11 years ago, when I joined Toastmasters, I was a trainer. I was a communications trainer. And I taught English and communication skills to people whose first language was not English. And when I walked into that Toastmasters meeting, I walked in with the confidence that I am the best. And guess what? I was the best in that room. I was better than everybody else who was sitting there to improve their communication skills. Because, of course, I was training people. I was training people who were sitting in that room because it was a corporate room. It was a corporate Toastmasters club. Now, why did I go to that meeting? Because I was forced. I was a part of learning and development, and I was told that all the members of learning and development must join Toastmasters. When I went there, I realized I'm going to waste a lot of money. I came back, but it was mandatory. So I kept going again and again. And then I realized that the problem is not with what the club is offering, but with my mindset. I think I can go to a Toastmasters club and learn communications, and probably that's not what I need from this club. Probably what I need here is networking. I'm meeting leaders of the organization I'm working with. I can network with all of them. Probably this is an opportunity for me to develop my leadership skills beyond the club. And I started going outside the club. I took up leadership positions. I met people across different clubs in the entire city. And today, 11 years later, as a part of Toastmasters, I'm so proud that conference that happened, I received the Toastmaster of the Year award. And all of that, came from one simple change of mindset. Everyone sitting here has something to gain from Toastmasters. We have Elton, we have Bruce, we have Bibi, we have Rita. All of them have spent so many years in Toastmasters. And there's still something that they get from me. And that's the mindset that all of us need to come to these meetings. Moving on and kicking off today's meeting, I see we have a few guests in the room, and then I'll move to see if we have guests online. But the guests in the room, may I request you to introduce yourselves? Could we start with you, ma'am? You want to come here?
It would be best. Sorry, Yukta. It would be best if they came up so we could hear them.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. Hi, everyone. I'm Sue. I'm from Chile, so English is not my first language. I speak Spanish, yeah. So this is the double challenge for me. No, it's not so simple just to speak in front of the people. It's speak in other language. So I'm visitor now. I have been here for 3 weeks, around 3 weeks. So I have a curiosity about this event, and I just am here and I'm here. So I don't have more information or goals about these activities. Just I want to learn about language, about people, about everything, speakers, and share with the people. That is my goal. Share with the people and learn a lot about the people, change the mindset, and a lot of things, attitude, behavior, and culture.
That's a great start to an icebreaker speech right there. Way to go.
Hello, I'm Teresa. I'm the guest tonight. I'm actually part of another Toastmasters group, and I just thought I would come visit because I'd like to see new formats and new ways of doing stuff. You always learn something new every time you come. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrew Garden. I'm also part of another Toastmasters club, a Liberty Village club that meets on Wednesdays, and I'm happy to be a guest here tonight. Here?
Yeah.
Oh. Hello, my name is Ryan Sneed, and I'm also part of the Liberty Village Toastmasters Club, looking to support the sister club, and hope to hear everything looks good. Thank you.
Yeah, hello, my name is Mihai Stefanoia. When I came in Canada 6 years ago, I met an Italian guy, and he was in rush. He was telling me, I'm gonna go to Toastmasters. What is that? It's a club to connect with people, to network, to improve yourself. I always had that curiosity about Toastmaster, and I was looking to join last year, but I didn't make it. And what's happening? I think I contacted the Toastmaster in Etobicoke. I was in touch with the team leader there. Then moving forward, I heard a speech in YouTube. Someone who make a very nice speech. I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. And that guy properly made me understand that it's going to be a very good way for myself to improve myself and also to connect with nice people. And I'm here for the first time for this. Thank you.
Thank you. So those were the guests in the room. Do we have any guests online?
We do. Where's my raised hand is blocking the name. Corby.
Hello. I apologize that my video is not on. I'm on a walk, which is but I was very keen on joining this. This is my name is Purvi. I moved to Toronto close to 3 years ago, and this is my first Toastmasters event ever. So I'm excited to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Now, for all the guests and the current members, the meeting is going to be divided into 3 parts. The first part is going to be prepared speeches, where there are members who have prepared speeches based on the curriculum that they are given, and they are going to present their speeches, and evaluators will evaluate their speeches and give the evaluation towards the end. The second part is impromptu speaking, because in real life, we do a lot of impromptu speaking. So there are going to be topics that people pick up and then speak on it on the spot without any prior preparation. And the last part is going to be the most important piece, which is feedback, evaluations. Without feedback, there's no point in coming and speaking and not knowing what you're doing well and what you need to improve at. So those are the 3 parts of the meeting. And we have a group that is going to take us through this whole thing. We have the general evaluator, who is Bruce. Bruce, could you explain your role to us for today?
Yes, and before I do that, the agenda calls for table topics to be first before the prepared speeches. Okay.
Noted.
Okay, good stuff. So as the general evaluator, I'll kind of observe the meeting as it goes along, and I'll take notes down and then provide my general value or GE report towards the end in the third segment, the evaluation segment, for 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. With Bruce, we have other evaluators. We have the grammarian, who is Rita. Rita, could you explain your role to us and tell us what the word of the day is?
Yes, Madam Chair. Now, regardless of where in the world you attend a Toastmaster meeting, the roles of grammarian and all-counter are included on the agenda. And this is because how we use language will certainly help us to hone and improve our communication and leadership skills. In my role, I will listen diligently to how we use our language, paying particular attention to what I like to consider to be strong words and sentences. I'll also pay attention to filler words like I, and so on and so forth, just to remind us that those crutch words or those filler words can be eliminated if we paused to collect our thoughts. In addition to this role, I present a word for the meeting. And today it's not going to be one word, it's going to be 2 words. I would like to encourage us to use the words as we speak. My choice of words that blends in, I believe, quite well with the theme for the evening is paradigm shift. Paradigm shift, and I will put it in the chat. Paradigm shift. What does it mean? It means a radical change in thinking from an accepted point of view to a new one. A radical change in thinking, change of a mindset to a new mindset. In a sentence, we could use the words paradigm shift like that. It took the hospital staff 3 years and attendance at several workshops to shift their paradigm from wearing strong perfumes and scents to a non-scent environment. As you know, many organizations have embraced and adopted the concept of no scent, but it takes a paradigm shift to get to that point. I would like every speaker to use the term paradigm shift. And as we hear the word, I'd like to acknowledge it, us to acknowledge it with the wave of our hands or the click of a finger. I yield the mic back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
And finally, we have the timer, who is Bruce, for today's meeting. Bruce, could you explain your role as the timer to us?
Sure. I'm just going to put myself in spotlight so everybody sees. And I think we have to do Rita as odd counter as well, unless I missed that. Okay, for every speech in Toastmasters meetings have a timed segment. Today's table topics, which are up first, are 1 to 2 minutes. The 2 prepared speakers are 5 to 7 minutes, and the 3 evaluations, including the GE report, is 2 to 3 minutes. With that being said, where am I here? There we go. The green will be displayed at the minimum required time, the yellow at the middle time, and the red at the maximum time. When you see the yellow, start thinking about wrapping up. And then when you see the red, you have a 30-second grace period to finish your speech. This isn't a contest, so nobody's going to be disqualified if you go over, but seeing the yellow is kind of your indication to start thinking about wrapping up and get that done. I'll report on the times when called upon throughout the meeting. And with that, as Rita said, I return the mic back to you, Toastmaster Yuta.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. And with that, we are moving to the section. Rita was the accountant, she explained. Okay, so with that, we are moving to the section that a lot of people think is the scariest part. Because you've got to come up on the stage, you do not have time to prepare as such. You take a topic and you start speaking. But isn't that what we do all the time? So whether English is your native language or not, take this chance, come up and speak. You can take a few seconds to think before you start speaking, but the guests are highly encouraged to be here on the stage and speak because that's your opportunity to practice this. Also, the word of the day is paradigm shift. I've put it on the paper here. So those who are in the room, the moment you come up to speak, you will see it right here. And those who are online, I believe it was put on the chat. So there's a reminder for you to use the word of the day. With that, I'll pass it to the table topic master, who I first met when he was participating in area contest. And he won that area contest. That's how I know Ken, a brilliant speaker. Maybe please give a round of applause to the table topic master. Ken, over to you.
Thank you, Yukta. That was a very nice introduction. Good evening, everyone. When you think of what you're going to do with better public speaking skills, you might think you're going to use them to inform people. You might think you're going to use them to entertain people. And then there's the two purposes for a speech which have lots of meat to them: inspire people and motivate people. Those are a bit more challenging. There's a skill involved in that. And there's no shortage of good examples of motivational and inspiring speeches these days. If you listen to the television, if you listen to the radio, or if you attend a rally where there's a very important cause that the speaker wants you to believe strongly in. If you don't believe in that cause now, they would love for you to have a paradigm shift and believe in their cause. So what I'm planning to do tonight for table topics is to provide you with a list of societal, there you go, societal movements. These are important causes throughout history. So you may know something about these causes, and I'm going to give you quite a few of them to choose from. Just choose one and tell us in 2 minutes or less why we should take your cause seriously. Okay? So a societal movement, or a movement that we're talking about tonight, not just movement of your dinner dishes to the kitchen sink, but a movement of this type is a group of people with a particular set of aims or ideas. And you'll recognize many of these movements. So what I'm going to make it easier for you, because I won't know your understanding of these causes, is I'm going to put the entire list up on the screen. And I want you to, when you come up, to have one of these causes as your speech. As you can see, there's the animal rights movement, there's the Me Too movement, and you can assume that we know nothing about your movements. You may need to explain what that movement is and why it's an important movement to join. Who would like to be the first speaker? I see Bibi's hand, so I'm going to allow Bibi to be the first choice today. Bibi, pick one of these important movements and get up on that soapbox and tell us why we should be a big supporter of that movement.
Climate change movement. I guess you all have heard this buzzword, climate change. But what does climate change mean to us? Is it important? Is it worthwhile? I'm here today to make you understand and to perhaps motivate you towards a paradigm shift for climate change. Climate change basically means our climate is changing. But most importantly, our ocean level is rising. And when our ocean level rise, it means one, Our glaciers are melting, the earth is getting hotter, and when the ocean rises, we are reducing our land capacity. With a growing population of 1 billion and a forecast for more billions to come, we need to ask ourselves that question. How are we going to take care of each other, feed ourselves, house ourselves, and make this planet habitable? Because we only have this planet right now. We haven't changed Mars to make it habitable for us to live on. We are only on this planet. We haven't done space travel to an extent that we can go farther. So I am here to encourage you to change your mindset, move towards that paradigm shift, change the way we treat this planet, reduce our dependence on fossil fuel, and encourage naturally occurring energy to use. Electricity from windmills, electricity from solar power, electricity from water power. Help us reduce our dependence on fossil fuel and help us towards making that climate change movement a success, something we want to talk about, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Here, here. You are definitely changing my mindset, BB. Who would like to be our next speaker? We have time for 2 more, I believe. And I'm only seeing. Okay, sure. Come on up and face the camera. Hopefully you can see the list on the screen there and tell us which movement you are standing for.
Like climate change. Another important movement today is fair trade. We often hear about free trade. Fair trade is a way of looking at a free trade, globalized world that works for everyone. Why is this important? Does this make us feel better about the things we're buying? Sure, but it also means you live in a world that's more efficient, that's better for everyone. So we live in a globalized world. For the last few decades, there's some controversies about free trade, and even today, I've read there's an increase in the US's tariffs with China. This kind of thinking about restrictions on trade are the end results of trade practices that don't take people in mind. Free trade can benefit everyone if it's efficient, if basically different areas are allowed to specialize into doing something that they have an advantage for, the entire world can benefit. But if these places are not creating things based on their natural benefits they have, it's not going to be increasing a good output. It's going to be doing something that's bad overall for humanity. One example I'll give is cobalt mining in Africa, where children were going to these cobalt mines rather than going into school because it was just the most economically advantaged thing for them at the time. By making that trade illegal, or making it legal for children to work in that cobalt trade, thanks to activists, to fair trade activists, those kids are no longer doing that. It hasn't affected the output of cobalt or the price of cobalt. It also means children are able to get an education and then benefit their communities in a longer lasting way, rather than getting a few dollars need to eat. But this isn't just legislation. This required actually paying kids to go to school. So we can't just come and say with a heavy hand and say, we don't want countries to be doing these labor practices. Like we don't want people in Bangladesh to be making things. No, we do. We just want them to be doing it in a safe environment. Because in the end of the day, we're all in this together. If children are being exposed to harmful chemicals, those are our children just as much as they're anyone else's. We live in a global world today. And It's just like if a factory collapses in Bangladesh, that's just like a factory collapsing here in Toronto. This is the other effect of globalization. This is why we need fair trade, and we should all be committed to it. And that's why we need to shift our paradigm.
Excellent, man. That's a great speech. Let's give him a big hand. So Bruce, I see on the agenda that the speaking portion of the meeting starts at 6:38, and on my clock it's 6:41. So does that mean we're out of time for table topics?
Let's do one more just so that we have a nice count.
Okay. All right. So we've had fair trade and climate change. Who would like to be the next movement speaker? Did I see Rita? I'm sorry, I don't know whose hand went up first because I just switched my screen.
No. We're gonna go with our guest.
Okay, guest. And who's taken the state? Oh, there you are. All right. Please, in 2 minutes or less, support your cause eloquently and change our mindset.
I'm gonna be horrible, first of all. My English is so bad, guys. But I'm gonna try to tell you a story. The reason I come here today is because change mindset. So it's something of what I'm looking for. So I come here with you guys to reach that change, because if you don't change your direction, you're gonna arrive wherever you direct. Sometimes you are in the wrong direction, right? So you may need to stop, think, and change the direction. Also, my topic is going to be pro-choice movement. I had the opportunity back maybe 12 years ago in Italy to meet an artist. His name was Dino Catalano. Before being an artist, he was a very rich guy, property, leases, passive income, travel, women, whatever you know, Italian people are very hard. Very nice guy, right? About 57 years old, he gets Parkinson. So when he gets Parkinson, his life changed. He starts shaking. He has a hole in his belly where to get insulin right away, so to stop shaking, right? So he starts fighting his sickness. And I get a little bit emotional because he was also a very close friend of mine after knowing his story. And what he did, he started fighting his sickness by painting. So he closed himself in the house and started painting every day a story. The way you see the world, the way you see the city, the way you see people. And started painting, and in 3-bedroom apartment, house, whatever it was, a house, was full of paint. One, no exposed like that, but one because every day become a pain for him. And what's the way to don't think about his current situation, but to make himself fight the sickness and see color, see life, be positive even in that situation. And also with other friend of mine, we did an interview to him where he say, people are so stupid because they think they possess things, but they don't possess nothing, because the biggest gift you have from God is the time. And nobody's going to give you back the time you have. And by saying this, he was trying to say he was happy, even sick. By painting, he was shaking, saying, my paints, I don't know what I'm doing. I just take the spatula. I don't know if you guys know the spatula, because he cannot control the brush, right? I don't know, my opera, my paint is in the stomach. I know it just comes out. And now he's he died last year, but now he's very respectful name in Italy, especially close to Rome. And everyone keep him as a art therapy, as a way to change, way to see things in the positive way.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. And as you could see how effective a story is when you're speaking passionately about your cause. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you see now that Toastmasters is a tool for change. I recommend that if you feel strongly about something, practice your 2-minute speech so that you can change the mindset of people that you meet. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Are we taking a vote for best table topics?
No, we don't do that anymore. And also,
Okay.
if you could stop sharing, that'd be great.
Okay. And that's it for my table topic session. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you. I will pass on some paper for all of us to vote for the best speaker, and maybe those who are online could vote for the best speaker by sending a message directly to Ken. Is that okay?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's in the agenda that we do the voting. So, all right.
Okay, okay. So we'll skip that part, but we usually have the best speaker award, but we'll skip that for today. With that, we will move forward to the prepared speeches for the day. And the first speaker for the day is Bibi. But before that, I will invite the evaluator of the first speaker, which is Anvesh, to talk about her speech objective.
Good evening, all, and most importantly, Bibi. So I'm going to evaluate Bibi's delivering her dynamic leadership speech 5, evaluation and feedback, in which she would be working on the feedback that she has already received on the last delivery and improving upon them. I'll be looking at the overall speech and delivering my feedback after that. All the best. Looking forward to your speech, Bibi.
Bruce, can you spotlight me first before I start so I can get my camera angle properly?
Yep, was just about to do that.
Thank you.
And in the meantime, we have the first speaker for the day, Bibi Anif. Her speech title is Aging. Bibi Anif, Aging, Bibi Anif.
Friends, are you prepared for aging or simply getting older? Our life is a cycle from birth, and we are guaranteed to get old, aging. Have you changed your mindset to include that paradigm shift of aging? It's here to stay. It's never gonna go away. Today, I would like to chat about the why, the what, and the how of aging. Friends, why do we age? It is simply because our DNA does not accurately replicate ourselves as we get older, resulting in the what of aging. Why? What? Depending on how well we treat this body will depend on how we age. For example, aging is affected by our DNA and will change with every single person. And with every single person, you will have different effects. And how? How does aging show up in our body? How? It is all from the study of geriatrics. It speaks about aging, our body, how it ages. But today, friends, I personally would like to focus on the effects of walking on aging. There's many complications. Today, let us just focus on walking. As our body gets older, we lose our it slows down and we lose our way we walk properly, resulting in a loss of balance, as you noticed earlier when I walked back. So let's look at walking. Let's start with shuffling. Many of you are familiar with shuffling. Shuffling is a gait whereby we don't lift our feet and we drag the other feet along with us. So as you can see, my foot are not leaving the ground slowly, just one of it is being grabbed. And why does this happen? This happens because it's a sign that our hips are getting weaker, our muscles are getting weakened, or it could be a sign of dementia, or we have suffered a stroke. And some of us, when we get old, we are so scared of falling that we just shuffle along as a precautionary method. Today, one of the most important aspects of walking is I want to talk about is counterlateral movement. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? If you don't, let me explain. Walking is an involuntary movement. When we walk, our hands and feet move counterlaterally. For example, if I step with my left foot, my right hand swings forward, and so forth. This is walking. We don't notice this as we walk because we walk easily. It's an involuntary movement. We don't notice it. But walking affects our balance. And when we lose our ability to walk properly, our balance will be affected. Some Parkinson's patients lose the ability with their hands swinging. So when your hands stop swinging, it definitely affects your balance. Now, you are going to ask me, Bibi, what can we do to slow down this process? We know we are going to age. What can we do to help ourselves along? What can we possibly do to help ourselves along? What we can do is we start from the very beginning as a child. As a child, we learn to roll, then we learn to creep on our knees, and then we learn to do bear crawling. And with bear crawling, we build our muscles, and then we're able to stand up, brace on our arms and push ourselves up, and then we start walking. Because when we creep, we are creeping in a counterlateral movement. And this is the information that's in our brain there, the DNA that is bringing it forward because it's an involuntary movement. Many of you ask why? Because when we lose this counterlateral movement, again, we lose our balance. As a patient of Parkinson, I always have to be doing exercise to keep my muscles going so that they wouldn't close up together. I have a movement specialist, I have a physiotherapist, I have a geriatric specialist, and prior, my team consisted of a neurologist. In addition to that, I take artificial dopamine that helps me ensure that my body have enough dopamine so that I don't lose my involuntary movement totally. Friends, I ask you once again, are you prepared for aging? Are you prepared to accept that paradigm shift? Have you looked at your body and noticed any change? That is how I noticed I had Parkinson. My hands would not swing. My left hand would not swing when I walk. Have you looked at your exercise, your diet, and your couch potato time? Remember, aging is here to stay. We need to change our mindset and accept that paradigm shift that aging will not go away. Fellow Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster BB. Can you see me? Okay. Those are the moments when I realize I'm really short.
There we go. That's better.
Okay. All right. Now I think people can see me. Thank you so much, BB, for that amazing speech. I think that's a very sensitive and critical topic. A lot of us are never prepared for old age. And that reminds me that one of my bosses, her mom had a lot of mental trauma of getting old because she felt that she could do so much when she was younger and she was losing those abilities as she got older. It's such an important thing that all of us should be prepared for because that's inevitable. All of us grow old. So let's do it more gracefully. Thank you so much, Bibi, for touching upon that topic. With that, we will move to the next speaker for the day, which is Elton. But before that, I will request Elton's evaluator, Elton's speech evaluator, Viviani, to give us the objectives of Elton's speech.
I'm sorry, I'm really not prepared at this point to give for Alton objectives. Bruce, can
Okay,
you
so I
do
can do that.
what project
I can do
Alton
that.
is doing?
Sorry?
Go ahead, Yukta. She was asking me, but I'm not prepared either. So go ahead.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Elton's speech objective. Elton is attempting leadership development level 1 speech 2. Where's that speech? 1 level 2. Level 1 speech 2, which is writing a speech with purpose. The timing of the speech is 5 to 7 minutes.
That switch. So it's now the feedback and
Evaluation and feedback.
evaluation and feedback, number 1.
All right, apologies. So Elton is attempting leadership development, evaluation, and feedback, the same project as BB, which means he is doing his first speech today, and he'll get feedback, which he will implement on his next speech. So to welcome the next speaker, we have Elton B, whose speech title is How to Stop Spiraling Every Time You Receive a Little Criticism. How to Stop Spiraling Every Time You Receive a Little Criticism. Elton B.
Like Elton B. Okay. How many times have you found yourself getting suggestions and you kind of either you didn't like it or it kind of brought you down and you start feeling really negative about yourself because someone gave you criticism? It happens to all of us. All of us, even as Toastmasters, there are times when criticism may not be acceptable. You've worked so hard on getting a speech ready, practice, you weeded out all the stuff that was not necessary, and you were left with what you thought was the gem. And you gave that speech. And then all of a sudden, there was suggestions to make it better. And you're thinking, oh my God, it was already good. It was perfect. Why is this person doing this? Do they like me? Maybe they're just out to get me. And what that is spiraling down this nasty path of no return. Because if no one gave us some type of criticism, some type of suggestions, just like our mom, think about it. Mom, if you don't stop, just stop. But don't stop. She doesn't stop. And the reason that she doesn't stop is because she loves you. She's concerned about you. And in this very room, that's what it's all about. Being concerned about one another and being able to provide constructive criticism and not hurting. But that's almost impossible. I don't care who it is. So today we're going to talk about three things. One, coping with it. How do you cope with criticism? And number two, rationalizing it. How do you rationalize criticism? And then last but not least, building esteem. How do you self-build yourself after you receive criticism? So one, coping with it. There are several ways that you can cope with getting criticism. One is to take it the way I was told. I remember when I went to a club, which I did join. It was an advanced club. Now, an advanced club is different than a regular club, right? Because you could just walk in and say, okay, I'm going to join. But an advanced club, you have to give a speech. You are then graded, and based on your grade determines whether or not you're let in to that club. That's what advanced speaking is all about. I got up there and I had practiced my speech. I practiced it at least 1,000 times. I got up, I stood there, I had my legs planted like this. I got the first sentence out. Nothing. I was frantically looking at any wall, hoping that the writing would be there so that I could continue my speech. 30 seconds must have passed. It felt like 15 hours. And then it came back, and I continued my speech. But I was deflated, totally deflated, because I knew they weren't going to let me in. I wasted all of that time. I'm so embarrassed. And then the evaluation. Now, evaluations in an advanced club is a little different than in a regular club, because in a regular club, the criticism is a little, soft and, oh, you've done so well. I love it. I love everything that you've done. Now, an advanced club, it's different, okay? Because they usually break it into 3 categories, and then separate people have each category. And then they lunge. When they finished with my speech, they basically had tore it up, pictorially speaking, gave it back to me, and told me that they would let me know their decision. I was just mortified. But then I got a word of advice from one of the members. I says, why are you looking so sad? I said, I'm not getting in. I just know I'm not going to get in. And they said, you're missing the point. You learned something today. You learned something today. And I went, well, yeah. Maybe if I didn't practice so many times, I wouldn't have had that blank spot. Oh. Okay. Well, all right. Furthermore, I decided that, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to just sit down and just think, play the whole thing back so that I can actually see what I had done wrong, besides having a senior moment. And then I was able to see what caused me to go blank. And it was because I allowed myself to be distracted. And when that happened, it threw me off. Therefore, I did not get to say everything that I wanted to say. Where did I want to say it? Okay, rationalize the criticism. Okay, you can, it could have been worse. It really could. It could have been terrible. It could have been where I never remembered any of it. But I did. So that was a good thing, right? I remembered. Last but not least is building self-esteem. And self-esteem is really, really important. And it has to come from you. Can't come from somebody else. That's why they call it self-esteem. It's because it has to come from you within. And when that happens, you have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Okay, I didn't do too well. But you know what? I know I'm good. I know that I have these 5 qualities that make my speeches roar. And I'm going to hold on to that. Even though I had all of these other things that were mentioned. And when you give speeches and you get a lot of criticism, suggestions, look at it as a smorgasbord. All of this beautiful food out there, your heart's desire, but you only pick up what you want, right? And the same is with suggestions, evaluations. You pick the parts, the pieces that you feel work for you, and you leave the rest. Now, that doesn't mean you don't come back later and pick up some other things at the time when you're ready, but you have that opportunity. So remember, when you are spiraling, 3 things, and those 3 things happen to be coping with it, how do you rationalize it, and building self-esteem. And with that, back to the Toastmaster.
Elton, I hate the fact that my husband is sitting in this room today, because next time I get dressed and I ask him, how do I look? He's going to quote you before he actually tells me how I look. I hope I'm able to take criticism now. But thank you so much, Elton. I think that was a beautiful speech. And all of us go through those moments when we get criticism and we are like, no, but I wanted to be appreciated. Then we're like, okay. But thank you so much for giving us that lesson. With that, we will move to the third part of today's meeting, which is, anyone remembers what the third part is? Evaluations, the most important piece. And for that, I am going to hand this over to my friend and Toastmaster Bruce, who's the general evaluator for the day. Over to you, Bruce.
Thank you, Yukta. From one of the year award winner to another. There we go. Okay, with this evaluation segment, I'll call upon the 2 evaluation speakers, and the first evaluation or evaluator is Anvesh to evaluate BB's speech. So come up to the front, Anvesh, and please make sure that you're on camera because it seems to have gone a little wonky. We saw Yukta disappear, we saw Elton disappear, and that. So make sure that you can see yourself on the wall there and stay within frame. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce, and good evening, everyone, and most importantly, BB. From the start of your speech, you did inform everyone that you are a seasoned Toastmaster, and this is not your first pathway that you are completing. You started off with a question, an important and a powerful question. You moved on with personal stories. And something that I really liked was that even though you were delivering a virtual speech, you divided the entire stage into pieces. You had your why on one side, your what on another, and how on another side. So you divided it completely and you moved different areas just to make sure that everyone is following on the part that you are focusing right now. You also had a personal story, and with a personal story, you exposed your vulnerability. You informed everyone that you are also aware about different things of what you are talking, so that makes you a very informed speaker on the topic. I also really like that while you were talking about something that I heard for the first time, counterlateral movement, you explained it elaborately with an example of how or what you are talking about. So that gave it in a layman's term to everyone who has heard this term for the first time. And that was not all. You ended off with a great end as well. You had question, you also had pieces of fun like couch potato time you should be looking into for all of us. So that was really great. You had vocal varieties, great pauses and everything. The only small thing that I can recommend for you to improve it further was that, and that is something that you were already doing, was your vocal variety. You had vocal variety in different pieces, and you did focus on important areas with that vocal variety. But if you can improve upon that vocal variety, adding it in major pieces where you have different actions, that will elevate your speech further. With that, I would conclude my evaluation, but it was overall great listening to your speech and looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Amish. I think that's my first time hearing an evaluation from you. Well done. Up next, we have BB evaluating Elton. So take it away, BB.
Fellow Toastmasters, Mr. General Evaluator, and especially you, Alton. Today, I am honored to give you this evaluation on your speech with your first speech in the evaluation feedback project of your path. I want to start, Alton, by saying I will give you your evaluation on your content and delivery, and we'll look at where you did well, where you can improve, and perhaps challenge yourself a bit more. To begin in, I want to say I observe your passion, your honesty, your integrity, your joy at presenting this speech. And in presenting this speech, you included a personal story that I could relate to. You had a great structure. You gave us three areas where we could cope with our criticism, as you called it, coping, building self-esteem, and the second one was rationalizing and building self-esteem. So you had a great structure. In doing this, I observed you had your joy at smiling. You smiled with us. You use gestures. I particularly like when you use your shoulders in one of the movement to emphasize your point. And most of all, I like how you introduce to the audience how you are treated in, or how an advanced club does an evaluation. And basically, it was based on that. Your entire speech was based on that. It was fabulous, Elton. I have learned something that every advanced club is different out there. So I will take that away with me. In order to give you some gifts that I feel that you can improve on, one of them being is that your use of your hand gesture. And a couple of times I used this, you were pointing your finger. I would really have preferred, instead of pointing your fingers, you will put your hands out flat so that it will be as inviting me into your speech rather than kind of telling me, Bibi, you're doing it wrong, or something like that, as your mother would say. The next one I would like to talk about is your facial expression. At one time, I felt that from your facial expression, I could see how upset you were from your facial expression. Therefore, I will ask you to, when you relook at your video, to relook your facial expression. And lastly, I know it's a challenge to present both to an in-person audience and a virtual audience, and your camera angle was a bit off. In concluding, Elton, you gave a fantastic speech. You had great presentation, great content for us. I gave you a gift on your gestures, and I gave you a gift on your facial expression. And lastly, I challenge you about the camera angle. Be conscious that you are presenting both online and in person in a hybrid format. And I look forward to your next speech, Elton. Thank you.
Thank you, Bibi. Just writing the time down. I know the agenda calls for the reports first, but in the essence of time, I do want to get my general evaluation report done, and then we will adjust the reports based on that. Okay, I'm going to start my time. I'm using the format of my home club that I have, because we have a general form that we provide to especially the newer members. The meeting started on time. Thank you, Yukta, after my acknowledgement that it was 6:15, so good for you for starting it. So the meeting did start on time, and it has been professional. The speeches, well done to both Bibi and Elton for providing us with two inspirational and educational speeches, and ironically for the same project in pathways, different paths though. Right. And it was not planned. It was just purely a coincidence. Elton did disappear off camera when he went to cross his legs and never came back. Well, he did, but it wasn't until 6:30, 6 minutes and 30 seconds, that he showed back onto camera. So this is in relation to what Bibi had just mentioned in her evaluation. Suggestion to always check the online screen to see where you are. The movable camera wasn't operating at that time, so I don't know if the hand thing didn't happen. For the evaluations, very well done, both evaluations by both Anvesh and Bibi. They were informative, both providing a glow and grow, what they really liked, and of course, grow, which means I'm drawing a blank. The recommendations for it to take it to another level. This is what happens when I get stressed out. I lose words here. The quality of table topics, great topics by Ken provided. Wishing we had more time to accommodate more, because there was a lot of movements that were available and on the screen there. So thank you for that. Again, just wishing there was more. Perhaps you can have that table of suggestions for one of your other clubs and do it there. Suggestions for improvement. Okay. This is where we need help, folks. Being in the hybrid model, we need to paradigm shift to be more aware of sound issues. I couldn't understand some names that were being called out from the audience, and also the topics chosen until Ken had crossed them out. That's when I happened to see them, which topics were being talked about. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about the seating setup. I understand that there are guests in the room that couldn't see the online audience projected onto the wall. If they had opted to come closer to their seats, then that would be a solution. BB ended up with 2 roles, as did I. If we had known other Toastmasters were attending, we could have shared the roles to accommodate only one for each person. I was both GE and timer, and that stressed me out a little bit. And I could see the stress in both BB for being speaker and then evaluator for the next speaker coming up. The agenda does need work, as near the end, it does call for a table topics vote, but the request for voting after the speakers doesn't show on the agenda. So the executive of the club need to make a decision. Do we want to do table topics voting or not? That's something that needs to be worked out, and we'll adjust that onto the agenda. What assigned duties were done particularly well? Toastmaster Yukta delivered a wonderful opening theme introduction, both detailed and inspiring. No surprise there, coming from the newly minted Toastmaster of the Year award. And to end on a positive note, is a great audience, both in person and online. I haven't seen these numbers, I think, ever in this club. So the upswing is happening for this club. Let's keep it going. The numbers mean something, as it makes for a more vibrant meeting, and I look forward to seeing that happen again. Okay, I know I went over, but I had a lot to say there. And with that, I will now call on, just let me check my agenda. The first up is the grammarian and all-counter report from Rita. Take it away.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I must say that tonight's meeting was amazingly strong, at least from the grammarian's lens. Strong because I heard some simply amazing terms. For example, the biggest gift is time. Life is a cycle. Counterlateral movement. Deflated, mortified. Beautiful, beautiful use of language. In addition, I heard some ahs and some ers and so and some okays and a few rights. There's a tendency at the end of a sentence to say right to get agreement. I also heard the word have used when it should have been a has. In terms of the words for today, I asked for us to use it 10 times and we use it 9 times. Maybe it was a bit ambitious to say 10 times. So generally, I believe from the grammarian's perspective, it was a simply amazing meeting. I return the mic to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Rita, for that. I'm just going to put that time down because I have to do my timers report next, and I need to include your time. There we go. Okay. Timers report. Starting off the meeting, we had the table topic speakers of BB coming in at 2 minutes and 20 seconds for climate change movement. Andrew came in at 2 minutes and 42 seconds for the fair trade movement. And Mihai came in at 3 minutes and 9 seconds for the pro-choice movement. Up next, we have these prepared speakers. BB's aging speech came in at 7 minutes and 55 seconds. And Elton's how to stop spiraling every time you receive a little criticism came in at 9 minutes and 13 seconds. If this was a contest, both would be disqualified based on time. So both speakers need to watch your time. Pay attention to the yellow with the red coming up. For the evaluations, Anvish came in at 2 minutes and 36 seconds, and BB came in at 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Also over time. BB loved to talk tonight. The GE report by myself, I went over, but I had a lot to say. 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And the counter grammarian report, it was really more, yeah, I think I heard more about the grammarian report, really. What came in at 1 minute and 14 seconds. And my timers report is, well, just because I'm stressed, I didn't start the timer. So I will turn the floor or the microphone back over to Toastmaster Yukta.
Thank you, everyone. I think that was a wonderful meeting. Is there any announcement that we want to make at this moment? All right. So can we have some feedback from the guests? I know there are guests sitting in the room. Is there anything you would like to share with us about the meeting? How did you like it? And anything that comes to your mind? Right.
On screen.
Yes, you are.
Well, learning from the GE. Oh, hello everyone, I'm Ryan. I came from the Liberty Village Club, I guess, that we're gonna have on Wednesday. But there's a couple of things I did like about this club. This venue is really nice. You have this nice hybrid atmosphere to it, which is kind of, it's different from what I'm used to, where it's just always in person. And there's some advantages to having like both looking here at you guys and then also looking at your screen and also having a look at eyes. It's a unique challenge that I think is very different. One piece of advice I thought, I went to the district conference on Saturday where they had this sort of hybrid thing as well. And what they had was tape on the ground. I don't know if we can get coasters or one line just to create some kind of box on the ground, just so I know, okay, where am I afraid? And just as a visual indicator, so at least I'm still engaging with the audience. I'm still looking at the camera. I'm not looking off to the side. There's just a potential improvement. Also for the timekeeper, I think that there needs to be an in-person time. As just doing this here, like you get this really small corner where it's hard to notice. There needs to be some kind of indicator in person. But overall, I really enjoyed this time. Thanks for having me. Look forward to maybe coming again.
I was at the conference too, Ryan. I didn't see you.
Thank you, Ryan. Anybody else who wants to share anything with us? All right. So with that, maybe close today's meeting. The next meeting will be 2 weeks later. That's on 26th of May. Is it 26th or 24th?
28.
28th of May. Some of us will be online, some of us will be here in person. I will be here in person. So I hope to see all of you again. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you, Yukta.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Year.
Thank you, Yuta, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Bruce.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations, Bruce.
I have my trophy right here.
Oh, look at that.
There we
I
go.
can, oh yes, I can see it, yes.
Yeah, it comes through. Yeah.
You can see it and you at the same time.
I know, it's amazing. The technology has changed.
That's right. All right, I'll leave you go. Take care, everyone.
Okay, good
guys.
night, guys. Have a
Bye.
good one. Bye
Thank you.
now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Good night.